So a yurt is a round structure, originally comes from Mongolia, and they use it as temporary housing because it's easy to take down, easy to put up, and it's usually self-supporting with the roof, just supported on a cable that runs around the lattice work of the house. So it's easy to dismantle and move as you go along when you're living a nomadic life.
Probably one of the biggest problems of living in a yurt is the fact that it's just a tarp around you. It's like a tent. It's like perma-camping all year round. The yurt seems to amplify everything. I don't know if it's the walls vibrating or whatnot, but you know, whenever you turn on music or talk in here, you can almost hear it twice as loud outside. The rains can also be a problem too. We get some pounding rains, and that noise will just be quite a nuisance when you have to, you know, make some important calls, and you almost got to plan your schedule around when the rain stops too. And you know, with electronics, you can't have extra computers or anything like that because, you know, if it's not the humidity or the mold or the sun, stuff just wears out quicker here. The glare is just almost blinding when you're trying to look at a computer screen. Working from home requires a lot of equipment here. I'm also a photographer and have a number of lenses, and we've had a number of computers, and it's amazing. We've destroyed probably 2 computers in the last year, a graphics card, and 3 hard drives, 3 external hard drives. It's the human, you know, if you don't use the stuff constantly, if we go away for a month or just are using a different computer, the humidity builds up in it, especially on the dust. And when the humidity, you know, when the dust gets humid, it starts to rust, and rust your components, and just, you know, it'll destroy it much faster than you never thought it would. We were amazed when we came back from a vacation to the mainland and had to buy so much more. We've started to use a big chest cabinet with a dehumidifier that's plugged in, and it goes on for about 15 minutes to half an hour every day, just to dehumidify that one cabinet. But without that, it's just you got to make sure you use it, and you got to make sure you have the minimal amount of equipment. I have 3 lenses right now, all, you know, quite nice lenses that all have to be sent in for cleaning because they develop a fungus on the inside of the lenses, and a number of these lenses have about 10 to 15 pieces of glass, so they all have to be taken apart and cleaned professionally. Hawaii doesn't really require heating or cooling as much. You need to be able to control it a little bit, especially in a yurt, because this place will heat up really quickly. So as you can see, the yurt was designed with a lot of windows, and it's wonderful, but actually getting to them has been quite a challenge. You have to bring over a ladder every time. You unsnap the straps, and you basically have to roll them up, under roll them, and then attach them to the top up there. So a little bit more with our weather here. It changes probably every 15 minutes, it seems like, and it can be quite a pain to deal with. Alright, we're on catchment water out here, so that means just every bit of water that drops on the roof gets collected in the gutters and all goes into our tanks here. We get about 150 inches of rain every year, which is plenty enough to keep us with more than enough water for, you know, a family of 4. It is filtered, and you gotta add bleach to it every month. We have some crazy bacterial and fungal diseases that can get in there if you don't. And you just we actually get bottled water that we fill up and bring home for drinking. Now we do have the bathroom out in a outside building, so it is not part of inside the yurt, which would be an entirely different challenge.
Our electric bill was like 148, and we were already at that point being conscious.
Yeah, that was like already we knew it was bad. We didn't realize how bad. I mean, the base fees are incredible, and then it's, you know, about 48 cents, if not more maybe now, kilowatt hour, which adds up so quickly. So
we had already started to become conscientious of what we were doing, which has made it a lot better being in here. We had eliminated all of the hot water except for when we shower. Modified our soaps to make sure that it was a soap that we could use with cold water for laundry and for dishes and for our hands and everything else.
And none of our lights are, you know, any incandescent, so that went, you know, long time ago. I mean, that was the biggest thing. We switched everything out. We mostly on LED, and then a lot of just compact fluorescents too. But certainly no incandescent lights. That would just be, you know, so expensive. I mean.
So it was nice moving it onto solar because we were already being conscientious because we didn't want to have a huge electric bill.
Previously, the generator would go on once to twice, maybe a week, and we'd have to keep filling it up with diesel. But since upgrading the system, I don't think it's gone on once. We were quite surprised when we turn on the computer and you just can't see anything because it's a, you know, it's a yellow fabric tarp yurt, and it basically just glows with light during the day, which is great, and it's wonderful to be inside. But when you try to look at your computer screen and you have the reflections of the windows and doors, and you just have this giant yellow glow. So we've modified a number of things. We've made a makeshift wall out of some dressers and with some tapestries, and then we put some blackout fabric behind the computer. Otherwise, it just has this yellow glow to it that you just can't concentrate. Well, you can't. With photography and architecture, you just can't concentrate enough on the screen and what you're doing. Heat buildup has certainly been an issue too. We get some really bright midday sun, and this thing just, if the doors and windows are shut and the dome is shut, it will jump like 20 degrees in maybe a half an hour.
But it's been a nice challenge and made you really evaluate what you need and what you don't need, and what you value and what you don't value. And it's still an ongoing challenge as we evolve with ourselves.
I'm actually living with one of my friends. We're putting up, it's basically $50 a month between the two of us for a little room that we had to clear out that had drywall dust, very unsanitary, basically unlivable as soon as we stepped through the door. You're kicking paint cans and old machinery and stuff, so we fixed it up to the point where we could at least fit some beds in there and sleep. So it's not really a house per se, it's more of just the place that we sleep. As soon as we went in there, or started moving our stuff in there, the next door neighbor who actually lives, it's the same building. They literally have like say one of those old, I don't know what they're called, those Asian paper walls. They have basically one of those dividing us, so you can still hear everything they're saying, they can hear what we're saying, and like the first thing they came in, they're like, you guys better watch out, there's huge rats in here, and like, yeah, we saw the shit everywhere. There was rat shit all over the floors that we scooped up, and I haven't actually had a rat crawl on me, or I haven't really encountered one yet, but I know they're definitely in there. I don't spend enough time in there really to see them too, so. There's no electrical, I mean, the wires have been ran, but it hasn't been hooked up to anything. We get electricity from next door actually with a extension cord. We have to go to our neighbors basically actually to use the microwave, like if we want to cook food or anything like that. So it's pretty substandard living, but it's what you have to deal with, and you can't complain really. I mean, we'll see. We have basically what we have in our house, in our small space that we were renting at the time. We have 2 beds and a bathroom with running water, hot water, and a sink and a toilet. We don't spend a lot of time there because of the fact that it's not the nicest place. You know, there's much, just being outside in the lawn is nicer than being in our house. So we try not to spend too much time there. At times we have to, or sick or something, and end up sleeping in there all day, and that's basically all you can do in that room. There's like no lights during the day. Our one light actually just went out, so unless you open one of the windows, it's totally dark all day in there. So I don't know, it's not very nice. If worse comes to worse, I'll just save the money or use some of the money that I've been saving and buy a camper for my truck, and that'll be my new home. If that's what it comes to. But most of the time, you always find something else if you're looking hard enough and you actually have ambition and a positive attitude towards it. Sometimes you don't have a place to stay, sometimes you don't have much food, but then there's the times of, you know, fun, parties, surfing, when everyone's going to the mountains, getting pigs, getting goat, getting deer, bringing down, making lau laus, doing emus. I mean, it can work both ways.